This was in 1999 and I was 15 years old. I lived in a nice neighbourhood near a sports centre. The roads in the neighbourhood, including to and from the sports centre, were connected by a network of alleyways. They weren't creepy, and kids used to use them to get to and from the sports centre and to the 3 local schools. I knew every inch of every alleyway, so well that I could walk them blindfolded. At the time of this incident, I'd been attending aerobics classes after school on Wednesdays for quite some time. I was always super pumped after the classes. It was more like dancing to me, and I thoroughly enjoyed them. No place is ever 100% safe, especially alleyways, but I've been using the alleyways for years to go to school, the sports centre, and generally to get to other places. After my aerobics classes, I will walk through the car park of the sports centre, down some stone steps, down a path, and then take a left at the T-junction at the end to go down one of the alleyways. This particular alleyway ran alongside the golf course of the sports centre. Along the right-hand side was a long row of 6 feet high fences separating the alleyway from the houses nearby. The alleyway was pretty much straight and seemed to go on like this for some time, but there was a break in the middle of it as it crossed the end of a road which had a turning circle and continued on the other side. Mostly, drivers using the end of the road to turn round wouldn't use the entire space, leaving enough room for pedestrians to just continue onto the next part of the split alleyway. On this night, it was rather dark. I was wearing a white t-shirt, black lycra shorts with a hot pink stripe down the side. I walked to where the turning circle was, and despite how well I knew how to navigate the area, I always checked to see if someone careless was doing something stupid like handbrake turns in the circle. On this night, I saw a silver Ford Sierra being reversed around the circle. I stopped where the alleyway ended to give them enough space to complete their turn, but they didn't. The car stopped and stayed there for several seconds, the rear bumper about a metre from my leg. After what felt like long enough for me to know they weren't moving, I shrugged and started walking to the other side of the road to continue down the alleyway. I did feel a bit uneasy though. I'd got to the other side when I was startled by the sound of a male voice. I turned round and saw that the driver had not only got out of the car, but had walked round to the left side of the car and was coming towards me. He was about 70, had grey curly hair, wore a long grey mac, and was waving his right hand, beckoning me to come to him. I don't remember what he said to me, but I didn't stay to find out. Combined with the rush of endorphins from the aerobics and the adrenaline from what just happened, I instinctively ran for it. I ran all the way down the alleyway, round the few bends it had, and ended up in my cul-de-sac where the alleyway ended. I ran to my house, went in, and felt instantly better when my 2 little poodles greeted me. The house was dark. My mum had gone to babysit her grandchildren and I was alone. I'm not sure why, but something told me not to turn on the lights. Did the man know that the alleyway ended in my street, and this is where I would probably end up? I walked through the hallway into the kitchen and looked out of the window but stayed in the middle of the room so I wouldn't be seen from the outside. Then, seconds after I entered the kitchen, the silver Ford Sierra drove down the road and I got a good look at the driver. It was the man who approached me. He was driving slowly and, as my road was a cul-de-sac, he could only turn around and drive out if wherever he wanted to get to wasn't in my street. From the timing of him driving down the street, he would have turned into my road literally seconds after I'd gone through my door. I was wearing quite distinctive clothing, so he would have known if he'd seen me. But he didn't stop at my house, and he didn't appear to notice me looking out of the window. If I'd turned on the light, he most likely would have. I exited the kitchen and went upstairs to my room, taking my dogs, and sat on my bed for a while. I didn't turn any lights on for an hour. May sound excessive, but if he had noticed any lights coming on in a house that was previously unlit, it may have indicated to him that I lived there. I'm not ashamed to admit that I still use the alleyways after that. The route to my house using the roads would take about 20 minutes or even half an hour, as opposed to just 3 minutes through the alleyways. Plus, walking where there was busy traffic continuously, hedges and many side roads is actually less safe than an alleyway in my opinion. If I'd been approached walking down a path adjacent to a road, the man could have used his car to catch up with me and overtake me. In this case, the alleyway gave me some cover and safety. As I said earlier, nowhere is ever 100% safe. Everywhere has its pros and cons. But on balance, the alleyways were definitely my preferred route. I never saw the man again.